The sun was already high when the janitor stepped into the packed graduation hall, his shoes squeaking softly against the polished floor, his shoulders tight as if he didn't quite belong. He had not come to be seen. He had come only to watch his son become something more than the life they had survived together. He did not notice the Navy flags, the senior officers in crisp uniforms, or the woman in white standing at the front with a chest full of medals. What he did not know was that, within minutes, a single glimpse of skin on his forearm would make a Navy Admiral go completely still, her breath catching as if the past had just walked back into the room. Before the story unfolds, take a second and ask yourself if you believe in kindness and second chances. If you do, please like this video, comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel Life Spark Stories. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Marcus Hale had raised his son alone since the boy was 6. There were no dramatic goodbyes or loud fights in their past, just silence and an empty apartment after a life quietly collapsed. Marcus cleaned offices at night and schools during the day, always smelling faintly of disinfectant and old coffee, always tired. His hands were scarred, his back permanently sore, and his dreams long folded away. Still, every morning was about one thing only, making sure his son Jonah never felt the weight Marcus carried. He packed lunches, checked homework, and smiled even when exhaustion pressed down on his chest like a weight he could not lift. Jonah had grown into a focused, disciplined young man, the kind who woke early and spoke little but listened deeply. He had chosen the Navy not to escape his past, but to honor something he sensed his father had once been part of, something unspoken that lived in the quiet way Marcus folded flags on national holidays and the way he stood straighter during the anthem. Marcus never talked about his past. He covered it with long sleeves and hard work. Today was the first time he had taken the afternoon off in years, his janitor badge still clipped to his belt because he had nowhere else to put it. As the ceremony moved forward under the bright daylight pouring through tall windows, Marcus found a seat near the back. He watched Jonah cross the stage with pride so fierce it burned. When Marcus lifted his arm to wipe his eyes, his sleeve slid back, just enough to reveal faded ink on his forearm, a symbol worn by a unit few even knew existed. Across the hall, Admiral Eleanor Cross, a woman known for steel discipline and unshakable command, saw it and froze mid-step. The room continued moving, clapping, celebrating, but for her, time snapped in half. That tattoo was not art, it was survival. It belonged to a team she had once commanded in a war few wanted to remember. A team that saved lives in impossible conditions. A team where one man stayed behind so others could escape. That man was listed as discharged, broken, forgotten. The Navy had moved on. She had carried the weight quietly for decades. And now there he was, standing in worn shoes, hands shaking with pride, watching his son graduate. Marcus felt eyes on him and lowered his arm, instinctively covering the past. He had buried that life after coming home injured, raising a child alone, choosing mops over medals because stability mattered more than honor. He never asked for recognition. He only asked that his son grow free from the shadows he knew too well. He did not see the Admiral approach. He only sensed the room shift, a silence falling where applause had been. Admiral Cross stopped a few steps away, her composure cracking just enough for emotion to surface. In that moment, ranks did not matter. What mattered was truth. The hall felt warmer, brighter, as if the daylight itself had leaned in. She recognized not just the tattoo, but the quiet posture of a man who had given everything and asked for nothing back. The story of Jonah Hale suddenly made sense to her. Strength passed down without words. Honor carried through sacrifice. By the time the ceremony ended, whispers had spread. Not rumors, but respect. Marcus stood straighter without knowing why. Jonah found his father afterward and hugged him hard, thanking him for everything, unaware that the past had just been seen and silently saluted. No medals were pinned, no speeches made, but something sacred had been restored. A man who thought he had been forgotten realized that service does not disappear when uniforms are folded away. As this story comes close to its end, if it touched your heart even a little, please engage with this video. Your likes, comments, and shares help these stories reach people who need hope. And before you go, write a comment below with the word respect if you believe unsung heroes walk among us every day.